The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The health department is still not confirming that there's now community transmission of the Delta variant in Metro Manila. That's despite admitting that there is evidence to support this. Greg Gregorio now joins us live from Mandaluyong to tell us exactly why. Good afternoon, Greg. Could you tell us why the DOH is not yet declaring community transmission of the Delta variant in the capital region?
Yes, Charles, according to Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere, they are indeed seeing evidence of community transmission of the Delta variant in the National Capital Region and Region 4A Calabarzon. Vergere explained that they have seen a lot of clusterings and no linkages among identified COVID-19 cases with Delta variant. But Vergere also said they would still need further evidence to support the possible declaration of community transmission. Vergere also explained that as of now we still have limited capability on testing every positive case to know whether they are also positive with the Delta variant. Thus, we cannot identify if there are also linkages to these individuals whom we were not able to identify if also positive with Delta case. Thus, according to Vergere, there's still no declaration of community transmission. However, the Department of Health is highlighting that despite the non-declaration of community transmission of the Delta variant, they have been assuming that there is already community transmission of the Delta variant, and our actions have been implemented towards that assumption for us to have a better response to the increasing cases of COVID-19 here in the National Capital Region 4A as well as other areas in the country. Charles?
Greg, that being said, could you tell us what are the latest case trend projections of the Department of Health?
Charles, according to Vergere, there are three scenarios that have been considered following the end of the recent 2 weeks ECQ. According to Health Undersecretary Vergere, if we will have 2 weeks ECQ from August 21 and 4 weeks MECQ to October 2, there could be active cases to as much as 66,403 by end of August, and then 269,000 active cases in the National Capital Region by end of September. And then if the scenario would be MECQ for 6 weeks from August 21 to October 1, there could be 71,000 plus active cases by the end of August, and then 330,000 cases or active cases by end of September. And if we will have just 4 weeks MECQ and then 2 weeks GCQ with heightened restrictions, there could be 83,000 plus active cases in the NCR by end of August and about 158,000 by the end of September. But Vergere clarified that these numbers are just projections and that we can lower these numbers in the actual if we will be improving our vaccination coverage, and we will be able to decrease the case detection to isolation timeline from the average of 9 to 12 days to just 6 days, and of course the continuous compliance of the public to the minimum public health standards. Charles?
Greg, let's talk about this circular from Philhealth and the response of hospital group. How is the DOH reacting?
Charles, according to the Philhealth Circular 2021-0013, which was signed or approved on August 13, it only establishes the guidelines for the possible issuance of a temporary suspension for the payment of claims of healthcare providers with grounds of unethical acts, fraudulent acts, or abuse of authority. According to the Department of Health, the circular is only a measure for the Philhealth to efficiently utilize the government funds in the delivery of healthcare services, since we are using the public's money in this endeavor. Thus, Vergere explained that they are not accusing any healthcare provider of any fraudulent act. Vergere emphasized that this is just a part of the process for the better use of funds. We have also asked Philhealth if there are currently healthcare providers being served with this temporary suspension of payment of claims, and according to Philhealth Vice President for Corporate Affairs Dr. Shirley Domingo, there are currently no healthcare providers being served with this temporary suspension. Charles?
All right, Greg, one more question before I let you go. Do we have any updates on the distribution of SRA to medical frontliners? Has this been addressed by authorities?
Yes, Charles, according to Undersecretary Vergere, Secretary Duque has immediately instructed all department units and department heads for the immediate distribution of the special risk allowance pursuant to the instruction of President Rodrigo Duterte to give this SRA to healthcare workers within 10 days. According to Vergere, they have also issued a deadline until Thursday to healthcare facilities to finalize and submit their list of healthcare workers eligible for this SRA. And Vergere said that the DOH and the Department of Budget and Management have also identified the possible source of this additional fund for additional healthcare workers, and they are just waiting for President Rodrigo Duterte to approve the access of the Department of Health to this identified savings from their miscellaneous benefits fund for them to use as payment of SRA. Charles?
Thank you for those updates and stay safe, Greg. That was Greg Gregorio reporting live from Mandaluyong. Private hospital group leader Jose de Grano could not hold back his emotions following the release of Philhealth circular. Despite this, de Grano told member hospitals who want to disengage from the state insurer to do this starting October once their contract expires.
Enough is enough. Kami po ay sawang-sawa na sa sinasabi ng PhilHealth, sabi ng aming mga miyembro, dapat po tayo mag-disengage na. Kung talaga po kaya nilang bayaran, bakit hanggang ngayon po hindi po nila binabayaran? Pag hindi po binayaran yan ng PhilHealth, doon po kami talaga malulugi. Pero kung ang pasyente po ay nagbabayad, hindi naman po kami para kailangan mag-charge sa kanilang malalaki. Kung ano pa lang po ang kanilang karampatan na itinacharge sa kanila, yun lang po, hindi ang itinacharge nila.
Meanwhile, House Committee on Health Chairman Angelina Helen Tan confirmed that their dialogue with Philhealth will push through tomorrow. Tan explained they will tackle whether or not a temporary suspension is the right move to deal with dubious hospital claims.
Ayaw natin dumating doon sa pagkakataon na hindi na ma-honor yung paggamit ng membership ng ating mga kababayan. Gusto natin malaman, ito na ba yung pinaka dapat na gawin na estratehiya doon sa sinasabi nila na one of their fraudulent tool, no? So ito ba talaga yon, or ito ay parusa sa ospital at na ang magsasuffer ay yung ating mga kababayan?
What will Afghanistan be like for women and girls under Taliban rule? 22-year-old UN Youth Representative Aisha Kuram is hopeful but vigilant of what this new reality could bring. Let's hear more on Bloomberg quickly.
This is actually a decisive moment for a lot of women in Afghanistan. The first day after the takeover, I woke up to the shoutings and gunfires in our doorstep. And there were thieves who were calling themselves Mujahideen as part of Taliban. And they were trying to steal cars and belongings of people. The last few days, they have been quite chaotic and quite unpredictable for a lot of people.
22-year-old Aisha Kuram was in the final semester of her international relations degree at Kabul University when the Taliban took over the capital city of Afghanistan on August 15th. Kuram was an Afghan youth representative to the UN in 2019.
On Sunday, some of the teachers, they said goodbyes to their female students specifically, and then everything happened. It was not clear whether it was for the Taliban banning women from attending universities or whether it was for the separation that might happen between boys and girls and the universities. There are statements by Taliban. They were saying that they will protect and they will respect women's rights within the framework of Sharia law. However, this is quite vague. At the moment, there's a lot of uncertainties. I personally do not know whether I would be able to go back to universities.
The Taliban is now in full control of the Afghan government. Afghanistan's former President Ashraf Ghani fled the country with his family to the United Arab Emirates.
People are trying to make sure that the situation gets certain and things clear out, and then step outside, resume their usual work. But at the moment, the lack of order and the lack of governance and accountability, it's quite difficult for people to trust and go out, especially for women.
Despite the confusion, many Afghans are still continuing to speak out.
Right now, the young generation is trying to demonstrate that we are the reality, the new reality of Afghanistan that is connected with the world, that progressed a lot since 2001. And they are trying to make sure that those progresses that young generation of Afghanistan made would not be reversed under Taliban's regime.
Kuram remains hopeful but vigilant. She wants to see if the Taliban will be able to peacefully coexist with the new values Afghanistan has seen.
This is actually a decisive moment for a lot of women in Afghanistan, especially the young girls who did not experience Taliban's regime in 1990s, and those women who are hoping to continue their education, to continue their presence in the society. We are trying right now to make sure their voices are heard and that Taliban would accommodate them in any future government and respect their rights in freedom. A lot of Afghan people, they feel this sense of abandonment. I hope that the world will not isolate Afghanistan, and I hope that the humanitarian situation and crisis that Afghan people are facing at the moment will be a wake-up call to the world. The younger generation of Afghanistan needs the world more than ever before.
Turns out it's not just in the Olympics where Filipinos can bag the gold. Pinoy food lovers can also get a very special kind of lechon in Cebu that appears to have been touched by King Midas himself. Jenny Dongan with the story.
Lechon with a twist. That's the promise of this lechon house in Danau City, Cebu. But wait, the crispy skin of lechon is not the regular golden brown. They offer different lechon varieties to make gatherings more fun and trendy. There's the black lechon, tiger lechon, and double carachon. But the most in demand, this classy and glorious golden lechon. Precious Riquiso, the owner of Madam's Lechon, shared that they started their business last year during pandemic. Competition is very high, especially in Cebu, so she needed to innovate. Soon, her creativity paid off.
Nagsisimula pa lang po kami sa business, so we need to think to talaga out of the box kasi newbie pa kami, marami pong mas nauna sa amin. So kailangan papansin talaga kami kasi gusto namin yung tao bago sa kanilang mata, bago sa kanilang paningin. So kahit pandemic, so nag-curious pa sila, ano kayang lasa? Why not to try? So yung naka-try, bumabalik naman po talaga sila sa amin.
Precious Small Lechon business started on November last year when they made the black lechon using squid ink. The golden lechon is the latest addition to their menu. But what makes the lechon gold? Precious said it is a secret ingredient. But she revealed to us the ingredients that made this one-of-a-kind delicacy extra special.
Lalo pang sumarap kasi may spices po kaming nilagay na mas babango pa po talaga siya compared doon sa original. Masarap na yung original, so lalo pa namin pinasarap doon sa golden lechon at 100% po organic, wala pong halong chemical or preservatives na nilagay namin sa golden lechon. Kasi before po namin nilagay yun, so we consulted our city vet po for approval.
And now, let's hear it from our biggest foodies and food critics, the Filipinos. Do they approve of Precious Lechon?
Salamat, Madam Lechon, from Danao, all the way from Guadalupe City.
Madam Lechon sells the golden lechon for 5,400 pesos. Other special variety are available at 5,200 pesos, while the regular lechon has a price of 5,000 pesos. For News 5, Johnny Dongon, we are One News.
And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us again later at 1 p.m. as we continue to monitor today's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.